Okay. So we were doing the Shankara Bhasya. We finished till verse number 25, but today we will also sort of cover the Madhusudana Saraswati because we have been doing it religiously. But you already know that the three ways in which we also divided the jnana into sattvika, rajasika, and tamashika, and there was a bit of it left there. That what is that tamashika jnana? Sattvika jnana is that what is divided, it appears divided, but you see that unified reality, that unified truth pervading everything. The Atma pervades everything. Briefly, Sarva Bhuteshu Yena Ekam Bhavam Api Ayam Ikshate Avivaktam Vivaktesu. Everything appears divided, but the Jnani is able to see everything is undivided, that underlying truth or reality. The Rajasic guy, he sort of sees he's a materialistic person, so he sees the division as real. He's a dualist. This also includes a lot of religious philosophers in Indian tradition, like the Nyayikas and the Charvakas, of course, but even Nyayikas and the Sankhyas and other people, they see everything as divided, multiple Purushas and all. So he's putting them in the category of the Rajasika Jnana. But the most critical thing is that certain time we get obsessed with one deity. You of course will have, this is a critical issue, so I just want to say a couple of words before we move on, that sometimes we get obsessed with only this body is real. It could be what you do is perfect. It could be a certain temple which carries all the spirituality and all divine energy in the universe is centered in that particular temple or in that particular. So most of the fanatic faiths, most of the religious orders, the which are kind of obsessed about a particular symbol or a guru or anything, which have a historical origin, but then they are trying to see that as absolute, as universal, as without a beginning, without an end. All the Semitic faiths will also come into that. This particular obsession, kind of somewhere there is a subtle tamasic aspect there. If you are able to see that as a historical truth and then rise above it, like some people are obsessed with even varnashrama dharma, and they think, no, that is real, that is sanatana. No, you treat that as a historical thing because that is a very tiny aspect of the whole cosmic reality and truth, and it's just a empirical fact or a phenomenal fact. We don't have to take it as absolute. So whether it is nationality or it could be caste, it could be gender, it could be a particular subject which you love, and therefore he's saying yattu krishnabat ekasmin karye. Remember the word he's using is karya, not karana. So whatever is a manifest form, you see that as the source of the universe. Saktam or Hetukam. Without any, you have asakti, a powerful obsession with it, without sufficient reasoning. Or Tattvartha Vad, and then it doesn't have Tattvartha. It doesn't have any real meaning in it. Because once you unravel it by applying your rationality, your spiritual intuition, you'll realize, no, I should not be so obsessed. You know, Guru Puja, Ishta Britti, these are all fine because you would be told that this is like a spiritual staircase. These are all fine. It's impossible to progress without the blessings of your ishtadevata or guru and etc. And these are all fine, provided you don't get fanatically obsessed with it. The day that fanatic obsession starts, it becomes tamasika jnana. Atatvarthavad alpam. Why is alpam? Because it doesn't take into account the fact that the truth is only one. You cannot take one point of manifestation as the universal truth. You are refuting then the basic foundation of Vedanta, and that is troublesome. So, tat tamasam udahritam, and that is cited as tamashika. Okay, so I think I can just read the Madhusudana Saraswati. This is the basic message of what he's trying to say. Tu sabda rajasad bhinnati. That is different from rajas. That's why that tu sabda is there. Bahushu bhuta karyeshu. Many material realities. Vidyamaneshu ekasmina karye. In a particular manifestation. Bhuta vikare. Which is a bhautika vikara. A material manifestation. Dehe. of one physical body, of your father, your friend, your wife, your lover, or your guru or your deity. Pratimadu va, a particular deity. Not only is Ganesh or Lakshmi or anything, it could be that one is very obsessed with a particular deity in a particular temple. But ahetukam means what? Hetu means upapatti, yukti. Ahetuka means without sufficient reasoning. Tad rahitam anyesham. So without that particular analysis or logic or rationality, bhuta karyanam atmatva abhave. The material things cannot have that atma swarupata. They cannot be absolute truth. They cannot be that, that atma thing, that universal consciousness that we are talking about. Katham ekasya tadrishasya atmatvam iti anusandhana sunyam. What is ahitukam? एक चीज जो इतने मसीहा में in a particular year this person was born and then he became a great guru, it's all fine, but he is the god. I mean, without hurting anybody's feelings, I'm just saying, I mean, there are a lot of people who go to a particular guru. I mean, they go to Sri Sai Baba. There's not a problem, it's all good, provided you don't get obsessed with him as the god. There is a problem if you do that. Your guru, you go, you're an Ishtavriti and puja and all, it's fine, provided you know that he also took a human body, whether it's Jesus or anyone, any guru, that's all fine, provided you're not blinding yourself with a kind of an obsessive attachment to that particular human form. Then that becomes problematic. Anusandhana, so name Krishna Vad is Paripurnavat, as if it's everything. Saktam, and completely you are obsessed. Etavan eva atma ishvara. This alone is atma. Could be Charvak will say sarira is atma. In the bodybuilders, those who are fitness freaks, those spend a lot of money on protein powder and gymming and this and that. They just want to look very attractive. Sometimes not so attractive because they sort of have too many bulges in their body. But then it doesn't last too long. And during Corona, we saw a lot of these big bodybuilders lost their lives because, I mean, they had great bodies, but then this invisible virus is even more powerful than the muscles we have. Ishwarava na ataha param asti iti. And beyond this, there's nothing else. Iti aviniveshana, that is the obsession. Lagnam yatha, completely you are attached there. Yatha digamvaranam savayava deha parimana atma iti. And now he's trying to sort of refute views of others. The Jaina view is that the Atma has a Madhyama Parimana, is neither Sukshma nor Stula. And they say that this Atma, how Atma takes the shape of a mosquito and then an elephant, they say it keeps adjusting itself. And something like that. In Panchadasi, there's a description of it. So he says that he's refuting it, that Atma is neither Stula nor Sukshma, but not Madhyam Parimana for Annanu and Astulam. That's fine. There's not a problem. Provided you don't say it's Madhyama Parimana one, then you are limiting it. Parimana Atma iti. Yathava Charvakanam and the Charvaka, the Brihaspati Deha eva Atma iti. This body is the soul. There's nothing beyond this. Evam Pasana Darvadimatra Ishvara. And some people have Lord Jagannath is made of wood, and there are several other deities made of wood. Some people be stone deities or could be metallic deities, and you see them as God, and that is problematic. That is problematic because actually they are not God. Okay, Matra Ishvara iti ekasmin karye, and that's a particular material thing. Ekasmin karye saktam ahetugatvad eva atattvarthavan atattvarthavat, because it doesn't have that tattvartha, it doesn't have that ultimate meaning in it, ultimate truth in it. Na tattvartha alambanam. So it cannot be, because you see, say we worship Ramakrishna Paramahansa, we worship maybe Sri Ramachandra, we worship Sri Krishna, Ma Durga, it's all fine. You are making them an alambana for ultimate ascension of the consciousness into the Brahman, into the nameless, formless consciousness. So far we are concerned, we are actually not outside of it, and we are not different from it. Why do we have to do this alambana? Because that's how we make progress. That's not a problem. And you can cry, you can hug the deity, you can love, you can associate, absolutely no problem. Provided you know that ultimate truth. So your doing Adhyaropa of Avada is very much part of the Vedantic meditation. We do Adhyaropana and then we remove it. So that is how. However, once you just get obsessed with that particular Karyarupa, there is problem. Alpam cha nityatva vibhutva agrahat. And that is alpa because you are refuting the nityatva vibhutva aspect of it because you are obsessed with one particular face with a certain look and a physical body, etc. Idrisam nitya vibhuti. And this Atma, which is Nitya and a Vibhu, Deha Vyatirikta, and that Atma is different from the physical body. Atma. Tad Vyatirikta, there should be one Akara, if you are looking at the Sanskrit verse. Atma. Tad Vyatirikta Ishvara, okay, Grahi, Tarkika Jnana Vilakshana. And then you are talking about three things, right? And everything is fine. But these three things are what? That we have a body, okay, that's Stula Sharira. And there is something called Atma, that Pratyak Chaitanya or the whole absolute thing. And Ishvara is Sopadika, that Maya Upahita Chaitanya, that is Ishvara. So we understand in Vedanta, Bhagavan has already explained all that. There's nothing to find out again. However, this particular logical and coherent explanation offered by Bhagavad Gita in the preceding chapters, these people are doing something different. Tarkika Jnana Vilakshana, different from a particular knowledge. Anitya Parichinna Dehadi Atma Vimana Rupam. Anitya, first thing is there for a while, right? A person was born for a while. Oh, you are born for a while. And then it's also Parichinna. It's not all over the cosmos. It's a particular human being. And then Nini, he is God. He controlled everything. And people, break their head at his feet saying that, yeah, I mean, he will give you grace as a symbolic representation of the absolute. The absolute, he will give that secret to you, will give you blessings, not a problem. Provided, I mean, you can make some progress, you can get some protection. This bhakti or this jnana is not a jnana, there is some jnana. But if saying this kind of an obsession is self defeating, as I was telling that Carl Jung says that this religious rigidity and fanaticism is a symbolism of a person's inability to grow. In a certain way, spirituality begins where orthodox, organized, fanatic practice of religion comes to an end. That is how I look at it. Okay. Abhimana Rupam Charvakadinam, all the Charvaka and other such philosophers, Yad Jnanam Tat Tamasam Udaritam Tamasanam Prakrita Jananam Idrisya Jnana Darshivihi. And you know what is Prakrita? Means Asanskrita, Swabhavataha. Normally they are moved by that understanding. Now the three verses that we did Shankara Bhasya, we'll try to wind it up in exactly 10 minutes so that we have another 30 minutes for doing the next three verses. Okay, which is about Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika Karta. Niyatam Sangarahitam Ragadveshatah Niyatam Sangarahitam Aragadveshatah Kritam Afala Prepsuna Karma Yat Tat Sattvikam Uchyate. That is what we have discussed that, and Shankara Bhasya have already done it. So what he's explaining here, Madhusudana Saraswati, that first thing is Nitya Karma, it's Niyata, and Sangarahita, there is no craving, Falabhisandhi Rahita, without craving for results, Aragataha, Adveshataha. Okay, so Ragadvesh will not be there. So you're not moved because you love something, but you are moved to do something because you feel obliged morally to do something. Why? To purify your consciousness, because you are a karma yogi. And adveshataha, it's not because you want to hurt somebody. Even if you are going to the war, you actually don't hurt the people you might shoot at. You're just doing your duty. Kritam. And then who is the guy who's doing afala pretsuna? The person who is not craving for a result, in a way, the sangha rahita is a kind of phala prepsa, is more of the same, isn't it? Once you become sangha rahita, that means even that ahankar will not be there. And phalecha will also not be there. Karma yat tat, that karma, which is like this, that is called sattvika karma. And we know why I'm reading it, because we'll read what is the Sattvika Karta, so that will make sense. So What I plan to do is I'll do this karma thing and then immediately we'll move to the verse number 26 so that it will make very coherence and it'll make sense. Niyatam yavat angopasanghara asamarthanam api. If you're doing any karma, we had discussed this earlier. If it is sakama karma, then you have to do it. Otherwise, there'll be a anga vaikalya dosha. You forget about certain components, you will not get the full result. If you are doing a sakama sankalpa for a chandi patha, or you are doing Vishnu Sahasranama or doing Gayatri Upasana, but you are doing it for a certain purpose, then you must fulfill all the paraphernalia. It's very important. But if you're doing nishkamataha, you're not looking for anything. For the pleasure of the deity you are worshipping, you're saying, Ma, I'm just doing it to please you. I don't need anything from you. Then Bhagavan says, Patram Puspam Phalam Toyo, anything you give, I'm happy with it. And remember, there's a radical departure from what is written in the Vedas. Vedas want a lot of upakaranas. And this Bhakti Marga, Bhagavan says, no, even patte se bhi khush ho jaunga. This is a refutation of the, this whole Vedic religion. The whole Vedic religion is kind of refuted because now Bhagavan is taking it towards jnana and a bhakti. Therefore, that's all refuted. So you give me even water, give me even a simple leaf, give me a bit of one fruit or half of it, not a problem. You remember this Draupadi, you had given a few, some remnant of some spinach she had cooked, and Lord Krishna was very happy. These are symbolic representation of the new way in which the Agama texts were looking at religion, where they heavily were bringing in jnana and a bhakti, jnana from Upanishads and a bhakti from the great seers and great practitioners of the faith to enrich the religion and move it away from the ritualistic performance of different rites is in the early Vedic phase or the later Vedic phase in the Karma Kanda, uh, context. A lot of these rituals were done. So यावत अंग उपसंहार असमर्थानाम, जितना करना चाहिए अंग और उपसंहार वो सब नहीं करने वाला, जो नहीं कर सकता है, अपि फल अवसंभाव व्याप्तम, फल अवश्यम भाव व्याप्तम niyatam. That is nitya karma, because he is not doing it for going to heaven or anything. He's just doing simple nitya karma. He doesn't have a lot of material, material inputs which are required for this, because he's doing nishkama karma, he's doing nitya karmas. Nitya miti yavat. Sangha, what is sangha? Aham eva mahayagnika. That is what the old Brahmins were doing. मैं बहुत बड़ा याज्ञिक हूँ, बहुत बड़ा बड़ा यज्ञ करता हूँ, छोटे मोटा पूजा नहीं करता. महाजाज्ञ के इत्यादि अभिमान रूप अहंकार अपरपार्यायो राजसो. And this is what is that rajas thing, and this is sattvic we are discussing right now. Rajasa गर्व विशेषः, that मैं सबसे बड़ा यज्ञ करने वाला, ये जो गर्व है तेन शून्य, different from this ahankara. It doesn't have this kind of abhimana. Sangha rahitam, a person who doesn't think like this is sattvika. Number 2, यावत अज्ञानम तो कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्व प्रवर्तना अहंकार अनुवर्तते एव सात्विकस्यापि. कोई सात्विक आदमी है, ज्ञान नहीं हुआ है, पढ़ाई कर रहा है, he gets up early morning, he does Gita chanting, he does a lot of meditation, he does a lot of japa. If you talk to him, it's quite possible that he might suddenly start thinking that हाँ मैंने बहुत साधना किया, भगवान ने हमें दर्शन नहीं दिए. ये दुख भी कहाँ से आ रहा है? अहंकार से. हमने साधना की, हमें भगवान के दर्शन नहीं मिले. But that is in the अज्ञान दशा. He hasn't yet met his own self. He doesn't have Atma Jnana, that ultimate level. So he may have some semblance of Kartritva, Bhoktritva, but he doesn't have that powerful Garva. And you can have some Kartritva, Bhoktritva. We are discussing even Sattviya Kartas are there, and your Rajasiya Kartas and Tamasiya Kartas are there. Then, Tadrahita, Sattvikasyapi. तद्रहितस्य, ऐसा जो कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्व जिसके पास नहीं है, तू तत्वविदः न कर्माधिकार इति उक्तम असकृत. हम बार बार समझा चुके हैं. असकृत मीन्स अगेन एंड अगेन Tattvavidah, the Atmagyani, Atmagya, he doesn't have karma adhikara. What adhikara he has? He has jnana adhikara. What does he do? He just lives his life without caring for anything except the truth. And mostly he will be a mendicant, he will be a sannyasi. If he's like Janaka Maharshi, he can live in samsara and yet he can have perfect union with our ultimate truth. What is raga? Raja sanamadikam anena lapsye iti abhiprayah. What is raga? I will be rewarded, I'll be very rich, I'll be very powerful in society, and therefore let me try to get this. That kind of a desire you have, that is raga. Dveshaha Satrum Anena Parajesya. Oh my god, this is my enemy. I'm going to teach him a lesson. That kind of a feeling. Iti Abhiprayah Tabhyam Na Kritam Aragadvesatah Kritam. A person who isn't doing anything because he wants to hurt somebody or he wants to get somebody like reward or anything, he's doing it without ragadvesha. That is sattvika karma. Aphalaprakshuna, another adjective, that he shouldn't have strong craving for results, but this is kind of easy to derive from the Sangarahitatva word. Phala avilasa rahitena. He doesn't have any avilasa. I want to have it. No strong aspiration or attachment. Kartra yat kritam karma yaga dana homadi. He might still do those rituals, but for antakarana suddhi. He might do a yaga, he can do charity work, he can do homam, and tat satvikam uchyate. Okay, that is satvika karma you heard. Now let's go to the satvika karta. Idanim trivida karma karta uchyate. Okay, karma we did, right? So we'll also do the rajasiya karma and tamasya karma, and we'll look at tamasya karta and rajasiya karta. Mukta sango ahanvadi धृत्युत्साह समन्वितः सिद्ध्य सिद्ध्योर् निर्विकारः कर्ता सात्विक उच्यते. Mukta Sangha. The same thing, Sangarahita, he is now Mukta Sangha. Now, the karma was defined. Now we are going to the agent, the person who will do it. Remember, this is not for Atmagyanis. Why? They don't have karma adhikara. We are talking about people who have an aspiration for self knowledge and we are doing Nishkama Karma Yoga, and Arjuna is one of them. And therefore, Bhagavan is giving very pertinent and timely advice. Mukta Sangaha, Anahangvadi, and then what he had mentioned, Sangaraitam, Aragadvesataha. So you can say that this is only twisted to refer to the person. In a way, repetition, but the context is little different. So he is Anahambadi. There is no ahankara in him, that I am the person who is doing it. Dhritti Utsaha Samanvitaha. What he had mentioned there, Araga Advesataha. Araga Dvesataha means Raga Dvesa se Prabhavit nahi hai, not motivated by attraction or aversion. Will he be stoic? So he'll be like matter of factly a government officer who doesn't care, he's very apathetic, non responsive. Do you think that kind of a person is Sattvika? No. He's giving a positive interpretation of it. What does he say? Dhritti is dharya. So he doesn't have raga, but he has a lot of dharya. He doesn't have raga, he has utsaha. He's not indifferent. We were discussing that again and again earlier. How will the Niskama Karma do? How can I do anything, sir, without any craving for results? So the Bhagavan says here, you not only will be patient, you'll not show any signs of impatience because you are talking about God. You're thinking about God. You are very quiet, you're very helpful. And Utsaha Samanvritaha. These two qualities are there with you. You are very compassionate, you are very, very enthusiastic, you are very responsive and very sincere and responsible. Have a lot of patience. However, you don't care for results. That is in Afala Prepshuna. This is translated here into different words. Siddhi asiddhyor nirvikaraha. Vikara sunyaha. Harsha visada sunyaha. He neither is happy nor sad. With regard to what? Phala prapti or phala aprapti. Siddhi or asiddhi. So he does something. He helped something, helped a person. But that fellow doesn't acknowledge, or that particular help did not materialize into some good results. He doesn't break his heart. He doesn't feel depressed. Why? He's doing it for self-purification. He's like a messenger of God. He's like a light worker, as they say, or he's a missionary in this life. He has a mission. He's working for God. So therefore, he is not involved. He's not bothered. He doesn't break his heart. Surrenders everything to God. So nirvikaraha, vikara sunyaha, harsha visada sunyaha, without pain and pleasure, happiness, excitement or depression. Arjuna was very depressed in the beginning. Bhagavan is indicating you could be a little more sattvika. You're still a little tamasika and rajasika. But you are a very sattvic person. He has already mentioned the asuri sampat, daivi sampat. Bhagavan has clarified that don't at all be scared that I am talking about you. I'm talking about the asuri and rakshas sampat because I'm talking about others. It's not you. But there could be some remnants of this tamasic thing, the fear and anxiety he displayed in chapter 1. So he nirvikaraha karta sattvika uchyate. Now let's look at how Sankaracharya, it's on the screen itself. I'll just read those few lines and then we'll get back. Mukta sangaha. Mukta means parityaktaha sangaha. So he has renounced his attachments. Yena saha mukta sangaha. And that fellow is mukta sangaha. Anaham vadi. Na aham vadana shilaha. May, I do it. I'll do that. I, my. He is free from this I, my problem. Okay? Which is the major thing. How are you? Exciting. And I did, and I did that. And he'll say that I 20 times. And dhriti is utsaha samanvitaha. What is dhriti? Bhagavan explains, Sankaracharya. Dharanam. Ability to hold. That, as they say, that ability to sustain oneself. Staying power. Utsaha. And what is this? Udyamaha. So you want to do something. You're doing efforts. It's not that you're very lazy, tired, non-responsive. Tabhyam samanvidaha means sanyuktaha. So this fellow is verily having these two good qualities of patience and responsiveness and responsibility. Vritti utsaha samanvidaha. However, he is not bothered if he fails. Siddhya siddhyor kriyamanasya karmanaha phala siddhau asiddhau cha. Whatever karma he is doing, kriyamanasya karmanaha phala siddhau. Maybe it succeeds, maybe it doesn't. Asiddhau cha nirvikaraha. He is absolutely cha siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha. He is absolutely not bothered. Kevalam sastra pramanena pravuktaha. He is now limiting the possible interpretation, Shankaracharya, limiting it to only Vedic, ritually approved Nitya karmas. Okay, so Shastra Praman say whatever is available because he was writing, you have to look at his historical time. But we perhaps could be a little more open to bring in the moral horizon that we have in our context as to what is relevant and why you need to do it. So Shastra Pramanata, we could understand by this word that which you are choosing to do because you have an enlightened understanding of the situation where you have a certain role, it's expected of you, and you are playing it. Prayuktaha na falaragadina, but you are not moved by your craving for some results, some appreciation, some rewards. Yaha saha nirvikara uchyate. That fellow is called nirvikara. But Nilakantha gives a very simple expression saying harsha visada sunyaha, which is perfect. Evam bhuta karta yaha. A person who is like this, evam bhuta karta yaha sa sattvika iti uchyate. So that fellow is called sattvika. Let's look at Madhusudana Saraswati, what he says. Mukta sangha tyakta phala visandhihi, because that's a favorite word of Madhusudana Saraswati. Anaham vadi karta aham. Ahankar vimuratma kartaham iti manyate. We have already dealt with that. So he's saying anaham vadi kartaham iti vadanasilo na. He is not somebody who says, I am the karta, I have done it. Na bhavati. Saguna slagha swaguna slaga vihino. He is not praising himself. He is not adulating himself. Va. Dhriti. What is this? Vignadi upastito api. There are certain obstructions. Shreyangsi bahu vignani. We'll have a lot of obstructions, obstacles. People are going to shout at us, criticize us. That's a normal course of action if you're trying to do something good. Api prarabdha parityaga hetuhu antakarna vritti vishesho. And then prarabdha parityaga hetu. And then this dharya comes. Remember this, that dharya also comes because in a certain way, you're understanding and you're trying to end your prarabdha by going through any discomfort that comes. You know that is because of prarabdha, but you want to exhaust it. The quicker you exhaust it is better. So the best way to exhaust is actually to, in case there is some adverse situation, just pass through it. Then the load, whatever negative karma is there, that is getting exhausted. Antagana vritti vishesha dharyam. What is dharyam? That is dharyam. And what is utsaha? Idam aham karishyami eva iti nischayatmika buddhi. Utsaha, I'll definitely do it. Dhritihi hetu bhuta tabhyam. This buddhi. So dhriti and utsaha. ताभ्यां संयुक्त धृत्युत्साह समन्वितः कर्मणः क्रियमाणस्य फलस्य सिद्धौ असिद्धौ च हर्ष शोकाभ्यां हेतुभ्यां यो विकारः वदन विकास म्लानत्वादि okay आदिहि तेन रहितः. So what happens is he's just trying to be a little more expressive, okay, a little more, he has flowery language. Whether you are siddha or asiddha, then what are you overcome by? Harsha and shoka, happiness and sadness. Shoka abhyam hetu bhyam, these are the causes. Your vikara is a cause, some vikara happens in your face because of the sadness or happiness, a bad result of good news or bad news. What are the vikaras? He's also explaining. Vadana vikasa mlanatvadihi. Sometimes people say, why is your face looking so shrunken? You're looking pale and dark. Sometimes you're oozing a lot of energy. You look pink and you're very energetic because you're very happy. You've got good news. So he's saying vikasa means you're happy. There is harsha, there is enthusiasm. Mlana, you're looking depressed, you're looking down. Tadis tena rahita, but that sattvika guy is free from these two ways of appearance. He's having that equanimous attitude. Siddha siddhyor nirvikarha kevala sastra pramana prayukta na falaragena. He does what is required and what is approved by the Shastra, Shastra Vihita Karma. He doesn't flout, he's a Vidhyatma. Ataha evam bhutaha karta sattvika uchyate. So that kind of a guy is called sattvika. Now let's do it. That Rajasa Karma, and we'll also go to the Rajasa Karta. Yattu kamipsuna karma sahankarena va punaha kriyate bahulayasam tadrajasam mudahritam. That is what we had done yesterday. However, aphala prepsuna, that is the defining feature of a sattvika karma and a sattvika karta. He doesn't have craving for results. It's exact opposite. Kamepsuna, that guy has a certain results in mind. He's helping others, but he wants to fight the next elections, or he wants to mobilize some donor funds. So, like you start some free time, right? Like you start a TV channel or a online channel, you make it free for all of the people. Like you had this Scribd or SlideShare, they were all free for a few years. Now they charge you money. If you look at Scribd, it's all free. You got a lot of material to read. And then they start. The Academia I do was also free. Now they're charging you money if you want to download a lot of papers, but at least it's very good. It still gives you access to a lot of papers for free. You can directly ask the author to send you papers, but then they also charge you some money. So a lot of these things, they have this free time in the beginning to gain a certain customer base. Similarly, this guy might do, which is apparently niskama karma or paropakari karma, but he has a desire for certain results. Whether it is an ashram or a charity organization, they all have certain business models. The only goal of these businesses or activities is some sort of a gain. Okay? Yattu kamapsuna karma sahankarena. Ahankarena sahankara tena. They were doing it. That okay. They have that sense of agency. Va punaha kriyate bahulayasam. Ayasa. Bahula. Lot of hard work they do. Why? Because they want results. Tad rajasam udahritam. So you would find that somebody is, I mean, a lot of people will be working 8 hours, 9 hours, but somebody is trying to, there's chances of a restructuring in the company. He's working hard to displace 3, 4 people who are at the same level. And he wants to be the head of the new vertical, which is likely to emerge. So he puts in 12, 13 hours a day, right? That is the Rajasic thing. Not bad, much better than Tamasic, but not better than Sattvic, because Sattvic guy has a different goal altogether. Okay, now let's look at how Shankara Bhasya he has dealt with it, and we'll deal with. Give me one second. Yeah. So ragi, that first thing, yattu kamipsuna karma sahankarena va punah. So first, let's finish the Madhusudana Gudhartha Deepika on this verse number 24. Tuhu satvikat bhinnati. So this is tu. Yattu, because they're different from satvikas. Kamipsuna. Falakamena kartra. They want the falakamana, and it is done by those agents, kartra. Sahankarena, have that sense of that ego, that have that powerful sense of agency. Prag upta sangatmaka garva yuktena cha. So first thing, they have falasanga, they want the results, plus they have a powerful sense of who they are and what they're doing. Egotistic, also egoistic. Va sabdah samuche, together. Punah iti aniyatam yavat kamanam kamya britehe. This is not niyata karma. Look, if you do nitya karma without any phala visandhi, one thing is certain, antakarna shuddhi. That result is guaranteed. Here, the result is not guaranteed because it's a kamya karma. You have to do it with all the inputs. There you are doing Ishvara Samarapana Buddhya. Here you are doing Atma Samarapana Buddhya. You want the results. Therefore, it's a kamya vritte hai. Yavat kamanam kamya vritte hai. जब तक आपका कामना है, कामना होता है, तब तक आप काम्य कर्म करेंगे. Till you have an understanding that you need to do it, you want to do it. Bahula ayas, and therefore you have to work harder. Sarvanga upasangharena, and you have to put in all the inputs. Whether it's personal, it's marketing, it's advertising, you have to look at everything. Otherwise, the company will not give you the kind of returns you want. And maybe you have some debts. Klesavaham, and definitely there's a heavy load, a lot of work pressure. Yat kamya karmam priyate. That kamya karma, the ritual activities like you want to do a Mahayaga, Rajasvi Yaga, or in the Vedic context, in today's context, you want to set up a big company, you want to start a new retail chain. It requires a lot of hard work. Karma kriyate tad rajasam udahitam. That is rajasa karma. Atra sarvehi visheshanehi satvika sarva visheshana vetiruktu darshitaha. Now, all these the adjectives we are finding are exactly different from whatever adjectives we had studied when we dealt with the sattvika karma and later on the sattvika karta. We have done the sattvika rajasika karma. Let's look at the rajasika karta. What does he say about it? रागी कर्म फल प्रेप्सुर लुब्ध हिंसात्मको शुचिः हर्ष शोकान्वितः कर्ता राजसः परिकीर्तितः. We have done rajasika karma. Kamepsuna karma sahankarena yakritaha yatkritam. That's what you have done. Kriyate vahulayasam. That hard work, a lot of hard work, that is rajasika. Same thing they are saying. Slightly different. Now we're going to the agent. Ragi, he's full of raga, moved by attraction, craving. Karma phala prepsu. Kamepsuna is the guy, same thing he's saying. Karma phalepsu. He wants the result. He's investing, he wants the returns. And lubdha, and he has that greed. You remember that famous English movie, Wall Street or something, in which there was this famous dialogue where he says, get up, buddy, it's morning. Money doesn't sleep. Greed is the other name for good. And that summarizes the American way of life in a certain way, in a very narrow way. It's not the best representation of American way of life, but what does he say? It's all about bourgeois life. It's all about the market economy. And to be a person who is heeded, who is respected, you have to be successful. So in that I think there's this young guy who's a broker, and there's a big guy, and the big guy is kind of hostile takeovers he does. And the young guy who's learning, he's getting into Wall Street. He's saying, "Get up. Money doesn't sleep." That's the key thing. So that kind of kalvapshu lubdha, that greed he has, and hinsatmako asuchihi. If there's a need, he can indulge in violence. You have to accept it. He may not kill anyone. He'll not break the laws. He'll go to jail. He doesn't want it. But violence is not about physical violence. He can terminate a lot of people's jobs. He can hurt a lot of people's sentiments. He can upset a lot of families. He could break a lot of marriages, make a lot of children helpless. Why? He wants his profit. He wants to be powerful. He wants to be the most powerful king on the earth or head of the state. He can start a war. He can, drop bombs on his own people. He can do anything he wants. Dictators, for example. So, hinsatmaka asuchihi. These are all rajasika kartas. Harsa sokanvidaha. So, you'll find them very super happy sometimes, and sometimes very angry, very sad, and people are scared of going near them. When Napoleon, if you have seen that movie, it's a beautiful movie, Desiree, who was apparently his girlfriend. And what happens in the end of the movie? He has lost the battle, and the Duke of Wellington has won it, but no one dares to go near him because he used to declare that one Napoleon is equal to 17 soldiers. Nobody dares to go close to him. Then they bring Desiree, who was then married to the king of, I think, Belgium, and then king of Stockholm. And I think she sent to him, he says, "Emperor, you have lost the war." Then he hands over the sword to her because he has a lot of respect and love for her. He cannot harm her. And this particular thing, so Harsha Shokanvitaha, that karta Rajasaha Parikirtitaha. That guy is Rajasaha. So you'd find this whole drama, if you look at any big film, you'll find all these qualities in the heroes and the winners and stuff like that, isn't it? They have all this raga and desire for results and lubdhata, they have greed and hingsa, violence, or suchihi, bahya and antar, internally also polluted, externally also polluted. Harsha swakanvitaha. External cleanliness is one kind of cleanliness, but when you're talking about saucham here, it's bahya saucha. It's about, getting up in the morning, taking a bath, and doing whatever is required. Harsha shokanvitaha karta rajasa parikirtitaha. So that is the karta. Jatto kamapsuna karma sahankarena va punah kriyate bahula yasam tad rajasam udaritam. Kaun karega? Verse number 27 you have to read. Okay. Now let's look at what Shankaracharya says. Ragi ragaha asya astiti ragi. Ragi आदमी कौन है जिसके पास राग है? कर्म फल प्रेप्सु कर्म फलार्थी इत्यर्थः. He wants the results all the time. Lubdha. Who is that greedy guy? Paradravyeshu sanjata trishnaha. The moment he sees somebody has a good company, it's making a little profit, he wants to do a takeover. He sees a piece of land and there are some farmers working. He says, "Yeah, it's a lovely piece of land. Let's buy it." And then he makes all plans to take over that land and displace those people. He can do it. It's a helpless country, a helpless company, whatever. He wants to capture. Yes, that greed. Lubdha. Tirthadoja srodravya paridagi. So dravya aparityagi. Wow. There are certain people who will go to tirthas and they were supposed to do certain dravya parityaga, right? So you do some danam and then they have these coconuts and some fruits and some sweets and money they distribute, and they generally supposed to give away what they're carrying and come back empty in those good old days. And but they are parityagi. They don't leave anything. They'll come back with whatever they had gone there with. No, I'm not going to get. I mean, their tirtha is over and they're coming back. Some poor man comes and they have that jacket or blanket. No, sorry. Hinsatmakaha parapidakara swabhavaha. So they want to torture others. They can harm others, cause pain to others. They don't feel bad. They're kind of sadistic people in a very subtle way, though. Asuchihi bahyabhyantara socha varjitaha. Bahya socha, taking a bath, say for example, taking food without a bath or all sorts of things. not cleaning yourself after you go to the toilet, and all kinds of things. There's several rules. Harsha Sokanvitaha Ishta Prapto Harshaha. When they get what they want, they're very happy. Anishta Prapto Ishta Vyogecha Shokaha. If they get something they don't want or they lose something they love, they are very sad. Tabhyam Harsha Sokabhyam Anmitaha means Sanyuktaha. So you can see a lot of sadness and happiness in their lives because they're Rajasic people. Tasya eva cha karmanaha sampatti vipatti viham. So they have either sampatti or vipatti. They are, in poverty and riches, or they have good times and bad times. Harsa soko shyatam. They'll have sadness and happiness. Tabhyam sanyukta yaha karta sa rajasaha parikirtitaha. That guy is called Rajasa. That's what he's saying. Let's look at very short paragraph also by Madhusudana Saraswati. Ragi kamadi akula chittaha. His mind is all the time anxious and restless. That's one good thing which I personally think is a good contribution of Madhusudana Saraswati. You'll find Rajasic attitude has a lot to do with a bit of restlessness because they're all the time chasing deadlines and they're all the time after something. You have this, you have something else to achieve the next day. They don't have time to breathe. So that is a good sign of who's a Rajasic person. And they have tremendous energy as well as. You'd find that they can do what a normal person cannot do. Like, look at this guy. I'm told, I just read it, I don't know how far true that is, that Elon Musk, for example, works 18, 19 hours a day and is not only a brilliant person, but is extremely hardworking. And he sort of leaves a lot of people behind in terms of what he can achieve in his 24 hours. Great Rajasic person. Ateva karma phala preksuhu, karma phalarthi. So they want that result because they're working so hard. Lubdha paradrabhya bhilasi. Fine, that we did already. Dharma artham sodrabhya tyaga asamarthasya. But they will not give it to some poor people, do some charity. No, 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 sorry. No, not at all. So abhipraya prakatena parivritti chedanam hingsa tadatmakaha tatsvabhavaha. And it's like you have certain aspiration to fulfill, and there is something called parabhritti. There is a livelihood of someone else, but you don't care for his livelihood. What is important is what your company wants. That kind of a guy, he's parabhritti chedanam hingsa tadatmakaha tatsvabhavaha. He has that sort of an understanding. Tadatmaka is that mind. His atma here refers to the mind. Tatsvabhava is what he does. So abhipraya prakatane tu naiskritika iti vedaha. Okay. So abhipraya prakatane tu naiskritika iti vedaha. So he's saying that this fellow absolutely doesn't bother about it. He tries to achieve whatever he wants to do it. He'll definitely do it. He doesn't bother about it. Then, what else is left there? Asuchihi, sastrokta, sauchahinaha. Whatever the code of conduct is prescribed by the religious scriptures is mentioned, he doesn't care for it. Like, for example, somebody has a wife and she's having periods, and then he's not supposed to trouble her. I mean, that is what the traditional morality says, that you're not supposed to trouble her. But he might insist, I have a friend's party, it's his birthday, he's my boss, you have to be present. So you come, he says, I'm not feeling well. I'm having some pain in my body. No, no, this is important. Your body can wait. You can feel the pain in the night. Let's go. That kind of attitude, you know. So asuchi sastrokto sauchahinaha siddhya sadhyoho karma phalasya varsha shokanvitaha. Then if he is having siddhi or asiddhi, ishtanishta, prapti parihara. So whatever, he doesn't get it, he'll be very sad. If he gets it, he's happy. Harsha sokanvidaha karta rajasa parikirtitaha. Then we will go to the tamasika person. Okay, what is that tamasika karma? Anubandham khayam hingsam anapekya chapaurusham mohad arabhyate karma yattat tamasam uchyate. Anubandham, we have discussed this, we have done it, Shankara Bhasya. We're only doing Madhusudana, but I'm doing it together so that we can also look at who is that tamasika karta, and together it will make great sense. Anubandham kshayam hinsa. First thing is Anubandha is what is going to happen. An eye for consequences. This fellow would not have, the tamasic guy. Rajasic guy would have it. He will do his short analysis. He doesn't like losses. He'll hire the right people. He'll fire the wrong guys. And he's very careful. He's very diligent. Except that he doesn't care for other people. He's not morally perfect. He's not somebody, he's a utilitarian. He's not a Kantian person. He's not somebody who moves by the theory of kingdom of ends, that we are living in the kingdom of God. Let's do the perfect thing. No, he doesn't believe in all that. But the Tamasika guy is worse because he's not at all diligent. He's just a Mura. He's a dumb guy. He's very dull, morally as well as cognitively. What does he do? He doesn't look at what is going to follow. It might harm him, it might hurt him. Okay. Then Kshayam. He might have some losses. His profits may go down. It could be a very bad loan. It could be a bad investment. Doesn't care. Hingsam. It may be hurting people. It may be harming people. It doesn't bother. Cha Paurusham. Whether he have the ability to do it, he doesn't bother. Or Paurusham. Anapekya. He doesn't bother about all this. He doesn't have apekya for all this. Then Mohad Arabhyate. Maine bol diya, I have to do it. Because if it's obsession with a certain goal, he's starting it. Yatta tamasam uchyate. That is a tamasic karma. Okay, it's like one good example could be that because of his obsession, like the Saddam Hussein attacked Kuwait. I mean, he would be still around, but then he attacked and he's gone, isn't it? So a lot of people, they just make one mistake and there's no comeback. Anubandham pasad bhavi asubham, whatever, that what wrong things can happen. Kshayam, sarira samarthasya dhanasya senayasya nasham. It could be of physical harm, it could be loss of money, it could be loss of your army. What happened to Napoleon when he attacked Russia? He came back with one third of his soldiers. He lost about half of his soldiers, or more than half of his soldiers. Dhanasya senayasya nasam. Hingsam prani pidam. Doesn't care. He doesn't take that into consideration. Am I hurting anyone? Is it a good act? He doesn't ask that question. Paurusham, Atma Samarthyam. Am I able to do it? Is it my kriti sadhya? Am I able to achieve it? It doesn't raise that question. Cha anapekya aparyalocha. He doesn't do any alochana, paryalochana, no analysis, no planning. And how does he do it? He does negative planning. His mind is working in a wrong way. What does he do? Mohad kevala avivekadeva. Because of wrong understanding, he has a faulty way of thinking about it. And he has that obsession that I am right. Avivekad eva arabhyate. And he starts the game. Like Duryodhana started the Mahabharata. He could have given them 5 villages. Poor guy would have lived nicely. Yat karma yatha Duryodhanena yuddham tat tamasam uchyate. So, Madhusudana Saraswati is sort of pulling in, he's making a snide remark about Duryodhana. Anyway, Sanjay is narrating all that to his father. Now, we have done the tamasic karma. We have just 3 minutes. We'll finish. It's a very short one. The tamasik karta, who is that? We'll look at it. अयुक्तः प्राकृतः स्तब्धः सठो नैष्कृतिको लसः विषादि दीर्घसूत्री च कर्ता तामस उच्यते. Ayuktah. He doesn't have, forget about this, he's so much obsessed with Vishaya. I want this. Like those good old days, the kings were obsessed, they'll attack another kingdom because that other king has a beautiful daughter as a wife and they want to have her and they will attack. So absolutely they don't have ekagrata, a proper understanding, proper attention. So cognitively they kind of defiled or disabled, challenged. So ayuktaha, the mind is not in the right place. Prakritaha means asanskritaha. They're very natural. They are like animals. They crave for good food and sleep and this and that. Very animalistic. Stabdaha. They don't care for anyone. They're not respectful. So they don't get results. They don't get why they fail in life. A lot of people fail in life because nobody wants to talk to them. They don't have, as they say, more than your aptitude, it's your attitude which is more important, which decides the altitude in your life. All of us need the right attitude. And here, these people may have a few qualities. Actually, that samartha also they don't analyze, as we did in the verse number, 25. This guy, sabdaha, and then satha, he cheats you, he doesn't tell you the truth. He's gaming you all the time. He thinks he can make money that way. He can be successful that way. Nice krituko alashaha. And then he's kind of a very lazy guy. Okay? And just look at it. The stupid guy is also lazy guy. Alasi hai. And then Vishadi, all the time sad. You won't see him smile well. Dirga Sutri, he makes long term plans. You made losses, oh, don't bother. Or take a little time. He does a lot of procrastination. Dirga Sutri. Chakarta Tamasa Uchyate. That guy is called Tamasa. Now let's look at what Sankaracharya says about this guy, and we will also look at Madhusudana Saraswati, if not today, tomorrow. We've just crossed the time, but I think we'll be able to do Sankaracharya. Okay, ayuktaha, na yuktaha means asamahitaha. He doesn't have the right concentration. Prakritaha, atyanta asanskrita buddhi. So his mind is not very cultured. He is not very well educated. He may have mugged up a few books to get a degree, but he doesn't have right way of thinking. Bala samaha is almost as stupid as a child. Stavdaha, dandavat na namati kasmichit. Whether it is a guru or a senior person or respectable person, but he stands like a stick. He is very arrogant. Sataha mayavi sakti guhanakari. So he hides what he has. He doesn't tell you the truth. So he sort of indulges in what is known as duplicity and complications and stuff like that. Nice kritikaha para vibhedana paraha. Para vibhedana paraha. And then, he sort of he'll try to do wrong things. Okay, so he'll not do so. Para vibhedana paraha. He'll not go. He's not very arjava. That is why Arjuna is so respected, because he has that straightforward thing. This guy is very kutila, and he will do some funny things and intrigues and a wrong way of imagining what is happening, and he will try to do a shortcut, all kinds of things. Alasaha, lazy, aprabratishilaha, he doesn't have udyama. Kartabyeshwapi, even if what is required, he delays them. Vishadi, Vishadavan, Sarvada, Avasanna Swabhava, all the time depressed. Why? Because his desires are too many compared to his capacity and his qualities and skills. So he has too much of ambition. He has too little resources in terms of his material resources, his intellectual resources. So he's too much of an ambitious person and very sad all the time. Dirga Sutricha, Kartavyana, Dirga Prasharana. He delays a lot of things. Also lazy. Sarvada Manda Swabhavaha. Lazy, slow. Yat adya svoba kartavyam tat masena apina karoti. What is supposed to be done in a day, he takes a month. Yascha ebam bhutaha, the one who is like this, sakarta tamashaha uchyate. That fellow is called tamasha. And whatever Madhusudana Saraswati has written, there are a few lines, but we'll do that tomorrow and we'll make progress and move forward. Broadly, we've finished this, which is good enough, but we have just 2 minutes late, which is okay. So if you have any questions, we can sort of bring this to an end and do the Santi Mantra Asana.